Welcome to the second class, the second video in the Guided Imagery Specialist Training. Today we are going to talk about grounding. We're going to talk about auras, chakras, and we're also going to experience the time machine guided imagery experience. One of the things that guided imagery can really help children with is to be grounded. So I want to talk a little bit about what that means to become grounded, to be grounded. One way for us to look at that is to talk about what it means to not be grounded. So we're not grounded if we're really nervous, if we're in front of a group of people and we're uneasy, our stomach is fluttering, that would be an example of a time when we're maybe not so grounded. If we're in a challenging situation, a conflict between yourself and someone else, and you're feeling unsteady and you're not able to get your points across, you're feeling ungrounded or just really flustered. You're having a hard day and you're feeling really flustered would be another example of being grounded. So when we're grounded, we're centered, we feel in control, we're settled, we're at peace, there's a sense of harmony, or a sense of power that we have, which is a really great place to be. But part of being a child is being ungrounded, and that's something that we love about the child energy, right? So it's not like if you're ungrounded, we don't have to look at that as something negative necessarily, right? When we're just screaming and yelling and having a great time, that's a situation where we're not grounded, but and that's okay. And so I just want to make sure that when we're working with the kids and teaching them these techniques to become grounded using guided imagery, that we don't make it sound like it's terrible when you're not grounded. But what is not so good is to not have that control of getting grounded when we want to be grounded, right? So learning how to get grounded is a tool that a child can have in their tool belt, and they can pull that out whenever they need it. When they're in school and it's a time when they're supposed to be really focused and they have to transition from this kind of ungrounded, excited energy into something that's more settled. They have that tool, they know what to do. So this guided imagery experience that I'm going to lead you through here in a few minutes is a perfect way for the children to get into that space. I learned this technique about 20 years ago when I was teaching art to high school students in San Francisco. And one of the teachers that I worked with at the meditation center, she was also a school teacher. And she told me one day, she said, "Sarah, do this technique in the classroom with the students and see what happens. See how the energy of the room really transforms." And so I said, okay. So it was a week or so later, and I had this one particular class come in to my art room, and they were really just out of control, loud, jumping around. It was just a lot of high energy there. And so I just stood in front of the room and I did this grounding cord technique that I'm about to teach you. And it was amazing. The students just one by one just zoop right down on their chairs as if there were bungee cords connected to them, and the chairs zoop, 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 and the whole room got completely grounded. So it was very powerful, not just to teach the children how to get grounded, but you as being in a teacher role or parent role, you just going ahead and grounding yourself and how that affects the people around you. So it's a really powerful technique. I think you're really going to like it. So I guess we'll just go ahead and get started and jump in and do it. So again, go ahead and find a relaxing position, whether you're sitting down or lying down. I will tell you, this particular meditation and some of the other ones we're going to do today are better if you're sitting up. So if you want to try it lying down, you certainly can. And the kids that I work with will definitely do this grounding cord meditation lying down and have no problem. But for me personally, and I think adults in general, would probably enjoy it a little bit more if you're sitting up, but it's your call. So go ahead and find that comfortable position. The grounding cord meditation in the book is on page 92. It's in the grounding section of the chapter Mindfulness and Other Centering Meditations, which is chapter 8. So it's in chapter 8. All right. So go ahead and close your eyes. Take in a deep breath. And when we breathe back out, feel your body relaxing. We'll take 2 more breaths. Deep breath in and relax your legs as you breathe out. Another deep breath in and relax your arms and neck as you breathe out. Imagine a cord connected to your root chakra at the bottom of your tailbone. Then see this cord go down into the floor. This cord can look or feel like anything you choose. See this cord go down through the floor into the ground underneath the building. See the cord continue through the ground all the way to the center of the planet. Feel this cord connect to the center of the planet. Now feel yourself attached to the center of the planet by your cord. Once you feel this connection, imagine particles of energy moving down from your head to your root chakra at the bottom of your tailbone and down the cord. You might see this energy as particles, or you might see pictures coming out of your head and going down the cord. If you see something in particular go down the cord, it doesn't mean it's bad. It's just a thought you don't need right now, energy you don't need, and are sending to the center of the earth. See this energy drop all the way to the center of the planet. You might even hear the energy go down the cord. What does it sound like? Now see energy come from your hands and arms, down through your stomach and down your cord. It travels to the center of the planet because you don't need it anymore. Now feel this energy move out from all the areas of your body. Listen to the energy move from your chest down to the center of the planet. See this energy come from your feet and legs and go down your grounding cord. I'll give you a few moments to do this on your own. Let any unneeded energy fall down the cord. And notice how clear and clean you feel. Now thank yourself for all of the things you released. Remember the room where you are. Wiggle your fingers and toes a bit. Take in a deep, wakeful breath. And then open your eyes whenever you're ready. At the end of this meditation in the book, the after meditation questions are, what did your cord look like? And just as a reminder, these questions are to help you facilitate a discussion with the students that you're working with afterwards, after they experience this guided imagery. Second question is, what did you see go down your cord? Did you hear it? Did you feel anything in your body while you did this? Do you feel different? Do you think you could do this meditation on your own? I've been doing this meditation with children for years. I actually did it with a group of students, second graders, a few days after 9/11, when the towers were hit in New York City. And although I was in California at the time, one second grader said that when he did this meditation, he saw the stock market going down his cord, after when we talked about it at the end. And another student said that he saw a map of Afghanistan go down his cord. So it really shows, how much these children are absorbing all these things going on in our world, and how this guided imagery can just help them release it and let that energy flow through them and move on. And even for yourself, keeping this idea in mind that what's going down isn't necessarily bad. Because sometimes the kids will see their picture of a sibling going down the cord or something like that, because it's just something that they release. So it doesn't mean it's bad. It's just something that you're just letting go of. And as far as just anything moving down there and out of there, I've had some adult students show concern that they feel like a little bit of a guilt, like letting this toxic stuff go down into the earth. And so the way I address that is, it might feel toxic in you because it just doesn't, the energy just doesn't need to be in your space right now. But at one point maybe it was energy that was working, but you just don't need it anymore. So the only reason it's toxic is just like a timing thing. It's just not the right time. So letting that energy go down into the center of the earth, getting recycled and going and helping, even helping somebody else, that energy at a different timing might be helpful. So please don't feel any guilt about letting that go down your grounding cord. I'm going to go ahead and show this video of some of my students talking about their experience with this grounding cord guided imagery. Enjoy.
One is called the grounding cord exercise, and I like this one because it's kind of a purge all. It's the big release, and yet it's very centering. So how that one works best is that kids and adults need to be in some kind of sitting position. So the benefit of this exercise is that you feel the earth underneath you. So they could be lying down, but primarily, since this involves centering on your center cord, your spine is a good metaphor for that, and an obvious one. And then that spine and that centering goes all the way down through the chair, through the floor, sometimes through your feet if necessary, if they like that real grounding part. But primarily then from the chair that you're sitting on into the ground, into the earth, and then even further into the earth, 6 feet down, all the way to the center of the earth, if you have any picture of that. But the idea is that you are really rooted to the planet, to the earth, and that then almost immediately, this doesn't take a lot of coaching, but then immediately the participants can feel like things are being released into the earth. I do that as a next follow-up, is to say, so release the day, or release any emotions that you're tied to today, or any excitement anything good. I like to say this is a time to kind of get to neutral. So sometimes even releasing something that you're particularly ecstatic about, it might be actually getting in the way of being present, of being grounded. So I like to do that one a great deal. And again, what they talk about afterwards is very helpful, things they released. It's always good, I find, to go through any auditory things that they hear, because a lot of kids and people relate things that way. Also visual things that they may have released, any visions they may have had. My wife in particular is very, she's kind of clairsentient, so she feels things. So for her, it's a real tactile, a physical sensation when she's releasing things. I actually like to add another element to that, which is kind of feeling almost a more spiritual connection, that you start above the head, and kind of then after you've kind of released major events or occurrences or emotions that you're bottled up with, that you kind of help channel some more positive light. And I often use a color, light, white or gold. Sometimes if it's a sound, it's kind of more of a singing, like beautiful music, and equate it to music that they like. And if it's a sensation, just a good warmth is a good one. Feeling feeling kind of the goodness and the peace that has sometimes a physical sensation to it. So even that then can be channeled in through the top of the head, down through the spine, grounding it, so it's not just airy-fairy stuff, but this is a very, I keep using the word tactile, but that's part of it. It's very, it's like this is a practical meditation, and that's what I like about it. And then it goes down through your body, through the chair, through the floor, into the earth. And there's tremendous benefits from that. What I've noticed in this one in particular from kids and parents is the variety of terminology. That just tickles me to no end. I remember one gentleman, he's a young gentleman, he's a boy of 11, was talking about blue, and then that afterwards he felt like he had all this power. And I thought, well, that's really beautiful. It wasn't a term I introduced. It was something he had self-taught. And I find that just incredibly important, that this is basically, these are minor techniques so that kids and parents can teach themselves. That's really the whole point. Somebody else, another young boy, a little bit younger than that actually, I think he was about 9, he said, oh, it's like the clouds are collecting and then the rain comes and releases. Oh, no, that's beautiful too. That was a terminology or a set of imagery I hadn't thought of before. Both of those happen to be more visual, but I thought that those were, well, I guess the power is more practical and sentient. But both of those I liked a great deal.
Occurs is you grow a energetic cord. That's how I look at it. It can look like anything. It can feel like anything. It can sound like anything. We use all kinds of senses to add to the experience. And you grow it down from your root chakra all the way down into the center of the earth, to the heart of the earth, where it connects. There's lots of different little ways that I like to describe and play with this meditation, and sometimes I like to even cut the grounding cord and start again, just because it kind of gives it a new, fresh feeling. But the purpose, I think, for the grounding cord, and what I've found helps me, and I've had my niece who I've done it with describe to me that there's a calm feeling that she gets that comes over her when she grounds. And I've even explained that you can ground anytime, especially after we've learned this grounding technique of visualizing and sensing and doing this little exercise. You can go to the doctor, or you can go to the store or be at school and driving in the car with your parents, and you just turn your grounding cord on, or you grow a grounding cord down, and she definitely expressed that it helped her to remain calm and not be so jittery. I like to also use it as a calming, relaxing technique with my 3-year-old son when he's going to sleep. Sometimes we will do that, grow a grounding cord as we're going to sleep, and he really likes to do meditations because
So the name of the study is Improving Quality of Life Using Compound Mind-Body Therapies, and there were 193 adults that participated in the study. And what these adults did is they participated in a training that was 7 days long, 14 hours a day for 7 days. So it was a very intense training. And during this training, they worked with body movement, breath therapy, guided imagery, chakra work, and mindfulness. So this study really supports what we've been talking about with the guided imagery, grounding, and then the chakras that we're going to talk about next. And what they did is they evaluated the participants before the training and then 6 months after the training on emotional well-being, feelings of anger, feelings of disgust and guilt, and things like that. So like emotional states. And what they found, the conclusion, the results from this study are that the experimental group improved their emotional well-being by 35%. They decreased their feelings of anger, contempt, disgust, guilt, fear, and nervousness by 45%. And they improved their energy levels, concentrations, and feelings of pleasure by 26%. So shows that when we do this work, it really does affect our emotional being. It's a healing modality. Under the curriculum section of Teachable, under Class 2, you'll find this video, which you've already found, obviously, and under that are the documents. And one of the documents that you'll find in that section is the Chakra and Aura workshop sheet. So I'm going to go through a few of the points that are in that document with working with the auras and chakras, but if you want more detail, go ahead and read through that document for all the gaps that I might not go into all the details here. But so what I like to start out with is talking about auras when we go into talking about chakras, because there is a connection. The auras, there's this energy that surrounds our physical bodies, and it actually spills out from our chakras. That's the relationship. And one of the most fun activities to do with children that involves the auras is teaching them how to feel their auras and feel a partner's auras. So I'm going to bring you through that right now. Like I said, these steps are outlined in that document. But starting with feeling our own auras, what you want to do is you want to rub your hands together. What this does is it stimulates the little tiny chakras that are in our hands so we become more sensitive. We also want to close our eyes, because when we close our eyes, then we are more in tune with our other senses. So we want to get really heighten those other senses. So go ahead and we're stimulating the chakras by rubbing your hands together, closing our eyes, and then we're starting by putting our hand out as far as you can away from your body. And then you're actually going to pull your hand in about maybe 4 or 5 inches, and then pull it out about an inch, and then pull it in about 4 or 5 inches, and then pull it out. I usually do this in front of me, but I think with the video it works better if I'm at the side. So just gradually pulling the hand in, pushing it out a little bit, pulling it in, pushing it out a little bit as you come closer to your body. And if you need to stimulate those chakras again, kind of get back with it, you can. But so right here, I'm feeling a ring of the aura. There's a few different rings. So This one is about 5 inches thick, and it feels kind of like a pressure. People will explain it as feeling like they're pushing their hand kind of on a balloon. To me, it's like a density change. Like it feels as if where I'm pushing my hand, the density is a little bit thicker. But you do feel a little bit of that pressure. And then moving closer, people often feel another ring. So it's pretty easy, but you have to be open to it and relaxed, and it helps to close those eyes. And if the person is having a hard time feeling their own aura, you might actually want to have them feel their partners, because it can actually be easier to feel someone else's aura than your own. I think because it's like someone else's energy, so it feels a little different. So you might actually want to start out with having someone feel their partner if you're working with a group of students and they can partner up. So same thing if you're feeling your partner. I don't have someone here with me. Maybe I can bring my dog over to demonstrate, but I think you'll get the idea. So go ahead and rub those hands together to stimulate the chakras, and say the person is right here. You're going to start about 3-4 feet away and moving toward the person's chest usually, right? So moving that hand in about 4 or 5 inches and pulling out a little bit, moving in about 4 or 5 inches, pulling out a little bit, and you usually will feel an aura maybe about 2, maybe about 3 feet away from the person on one of those rings. And so as I outline in the document, to go through the process of asking permission if you're going to feel someone's aura, going through that step of saying, I'm going to feel your aura today. Is that okay with you? Do I have permission to feel your aura? Because you really want to have that openness. So that's a great way for the kids to get introduced to this subtle energy, so they feel it and they understand the reality of it. And you can't see it, or most of us can't see it, but it's real and it's tangible and it's there. And then when they start working with the chakras, which we'll do next, then they understand the reality of that energy moving through your different chakras. A fun activity that you can do with your students to support what they're learning about auras is the zip in and out of your aura activity. I have a video that I'll go ahead and show you. I'm conducting this activity, facilitating it with a group of kids. It's fun, and whether you're actually zipping in and out of your aura in real life, it's really not the point. It's just, think of it more of a metaphor. So go ahead and enjoy the video. So what we're going to do is we're going to pretend our auras are like a big invisible sleeping bag, and it has a zipper. So we are going to take that zipper at the bottom. Everybody lean down. Take that zipper and pull up. We're unzipping our auras all the way up. And then we're going to move one part of the aura out this way, another part this way. And we're going to take our foot and we're going to step out of our aura. And then we're going to hold our aura here at the top very gently. We'll get into a comfortable spot area, so we're not going to knock into anybody else. And I want you to gently move your aura that you're holding gently back and forth. And we're gently knocking out, letting go of anything that's in our aura that we don't need. It's just falling to the ground. And then you can shake it a little bit more. Spencer, you can shake it a little bit more. Can you shake it some more? Yeah? Okay, all right.
Is this too much?
That's a little much, yeah. Okay. All right, and then we're going to step back in our aura. So we're going to open that side up and open that other side up. Step one foot back in, the other foot back in. And then there is a zipper, right? The zipper is all the way up here. I'm going to zip it back down. And then we're going to stretch our arms out. Have a little space here. Stretch your arms. Teaching chakras to children. I have a chart on page 106 in the book that really outlines some of the concepts that we can teach the children about the chakras. For example, their number. Each chakra has its own number, their location, the color that's associated with the chakra, musical note, and the chakra job. So I'll go over that with you briefly. So for example, the root chakra is the first chakra, and that's at the bottom of the tailbone. That's the location, and it's associated with the color red. And a lot of people don't know why the chakras are associated with color, so I can explain that. So the first chakra, the root chakra, being red, that means that it vibrates at the same frequency group as red. And what I mean by frequency group is, think about a piano. You have octaves on the piano, right? You have middle C, and then you have the C above it, and the C below it, and so forth. So the same thing is true for the color spectrum. We have the vibration of red that we can see, right? But we have octaves of that red that vibrate at that same frequency group that we cannot see. Okay, so the root chakra vibrates at that frequency when it's clear and clean and in good shape at that frequency group of red, but at a frequency that we're not able to see with our human eye. And same with the note, each chakra is associated with a different musical note. Same thing, with that frequency group of that note that we can't hear. And the jobs are really important. So with working with the kids, that's how I like to introduce it to them, as each chakra has its job. So the first chakra helps us to be strong and confident, because that root chakra is that safety, stability. It's really rooted in this physical world. So I won't go through all the locations and jobs of the chakras. You can go over that on your own on page 106. And then there's also a diagram next to that in the book. And you can go ahead and make a photocopy and hand these out to your students. If you have a Kindle version of the book, I'm not sure how you make a photocopy of that. If you need to email me, I can go ahead and share that with you if you'd like to use that. In this video, I'm working with a group of children, teaching them about their chakras. So go ahead and enjoy.
This is Chakra Man. We're going to talk about this guy, what he does. The energy that we just touched, that we felt with our auras, that energy is the same energy that runs through our chakras. And our chakras are these energy centers that are along the spine of our body. Okay, and they're in these areas that they're in Chakra Man right here, so everybody can see. Okay, so can everybody put their hand on their heart? That's where your heart chakra is. All right, and then we have, and you can help by looking at Chakra Man. Your heart is right here. Well, our heart chakra is right here. Right here, you put your hand right there. And let's start at the top. And I'm just going to point them out here. We have our Crown Chakra, which is at the top of our head. We have our brow chakra, which is in between our eyebrows. We have our throat chakra. It's right here in our throat. We already pointed out the heart chakra. And then we have the top of the belly chakra, which is right here at the top of our belly. We have our belly button chakra. And we have our root chakra, which is at the bottom of our tailbone, which I'm sure Emily knows about because she hurt her tailbone the other day. So you know where that chakra is. So when we're sitting down and that tailbone's sitting on our cushion, that's our root chakra. And each of our chakras has a job for us. And our root chakra helps us be strong. Yeah, Ariana.
I learned that from yoga, and I remember the song is like weaving.
Really? Oh, I'll have to learn that song sometime. Because that is like a weaving. Weaving, the chakra energy weaves through our chakras.
And it's like color
chakra's job is to help us think. And our belly button chakra's job is to help us feel. And our throat chakra's job is to help us talk. And our, what do you think the brow chakra does? What is that? Go ahead, Jaden. What do our eyes do? To see. Yeah, our brow chakra helps us see, and it especially helps us see with our eyes closed. Yeah, have you ever seen anything with your eyes closed? Go ahead, Faith.
Why doesn't the crown chakra? That makes a lot more sense.
Do you want to know what the crown chakra's job is? Okay. Just 1 second, Spencer. The crown chakra's job is to help us feel connected, help us feel a part of a group, help us feel a part of something bigger. And Spencer, go ahead.
I saw Emily with my eyes closed and weird up.
You saw Emily with your eyes closed?
Weird up.
I think Amy's taking her class.
Maybe you can find out.
Thank you. The heart chakra helps us love. Helps us love ourselves, helps us love other people. Yeah. So if we're going to work with our chakras and make them stronger, does anybody have any ideas about how this could help us? Help you? An idea in your life where you could help make this chakra stronger? Think.
Maybe you could get rid of stuff you don't need anymore.
Maybe a chakra can help you get rid of stuff that you don't need anymore.
Like the root chakra for the grounding cord.
The grounding cord, right? The root chakra's at the grounding cord, and it's where everything lets go and goes out. Also, our brow chakra that helps us visualize. If we're doing a visualization type meditation, that chakra can help us visualize letting go. Sure. Any other things in your life do you think that strengthening the chakras would help? How about when you're getting ready for a test and you want to make sure that you're thinking really clearly for your test? What thing?
The top of the belly chakra.
The top of the belly chakra, because that's the chakra that helps us think. So we can do a meditation or help do something that will help strengthen that chakra. Yes, babe?
Maybe the top of the belly chakra might help with getting rid of things you don't want to think about anymore.
Yeah, that could, because we want to use our mind to help us let go. Do that. So just like when we were feeling our auras, we can also feel our chakras. So go ahead, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to rub those hands together. And I want you to put your hand over one of your chakras. It's up to you. If you want to do your heart chakra or your throat chakra. And notice if you feel. If you feel it. Your brow chakra is a little bit lower. Lower right there. Your crown chakra is up here. If you want to feel your crown chakra, you put your hands like this. But be careful, your crown chakra is one of the most sensitive chakras.
Okay.
You need to be very gentle. You need to be gentle when you feel it. I can feel mine.
I shouldn't be hitting my head, should I?
Don't hit your head, there you'll hurt your crown chakra. You do? What does it feel like?
I feel an ouchie. I felt like a tug, like it was trying to push my hand away. And it felt really tingling in my hand.
It felt tingling.
Or maybe that was more of me rubbing it.
No, actually, a lot of people, when they feel their chakras in their aura, it makes you feel it tingling.
I didn't really feel anything.
You didn't feel it? Okay. Anybody else?
I feel the same.
You feel the same thing as Faith?
I felt a hurting hand.
You felt your hand hurting? David, did you feel anything? You felt your chakras?
Yeah, kind of like the face said. I felt like it was pushing away, like it was hard not to go toward it, like there was some energy.
So just like the activity where we're learning how to feel our aura. And we can also do this with our chakras. The kids love to do this too. So very similar, rubbing your hands together, and you're coming a couple feet out from in front of you, in front of the body, and then moving your hand closer to the chakra. So if we're talking about our heart chakra right here, we're moving it in closer. And you want to be gentle because you can feel it. You can feel that kind of a little bit of that pressure of someone feeling your heart chakra. So going in there, just feeling it. When I feel it, it feels kind of like a sphere of energy, a half of a sphere of energy, kind of like a ball, half of a ball here. Some people might experience it more as a temperature change. It's a little bit warmer in that area. So you can do that with each chakra. You're rubbing your hands together and coming in. You need to be careful of the crown chakra. This is probably the most sensitive chakra. So when you're putting your hand down on there, you want to be very gentle, whether it's your own crown chakra or you're feeling someone else's. So very gentle. It can cause you a little bit of a headache or to someone else if you kind of come too fast. So you want to be very gentle and careful with that crown chakra. But the same thing, go ahead and feel that chakra. So that's a nice way, again, for the kids to get a real sense of that energy. You can also use pendulums to work with the chakras. So here, very simple. We just have a washer. We call this a washer at the hardware store, and a thread. So very inexpensive, works really well, and the students can lie down on their back and hold the pendulum over each chakra to get a spin. If we get a good spin on the chakra, that means that the chakra is really open. If it's kind of going back and forth, that means there's some blockage in that chakra. So I can demonstrate here on the crown chakra. So let's see, get down here. So you can get in that spin there. Kind of a little bit of elliptical spin, so I could do some work on that chakra. Interesting, when I started talking, the spin changed. But you can do that for each chakra, but like I said, it's easier if you're lying down. When you're using a pendulum with the chakras, it's nice to use it to assess all of your chakras first before doing work with the chakras. So simply placing the pendulum over the chakra like this and seeing what kind of spin you get, or if it's not spinning in a circle, it might go back and forth, or it might just not move at all. So I'm getting a pretty good circular spin over the heart chakra. Next, I'm going to go over the solar plexus, which is right here. And then the navel chakra, right here. And then after you assess the chakras, then you can determine the ones that are weaker, more blocked, less balanced, and you can work with those chakras. One thing that you can do is use affirmations. I'm going to go ahead and put the pendulum over my heart chakra. And say the affirmation, I feel a warm feeling in my heart. I feel a warm feeling in my heart. as I say that, the spin is actually getting stronger. The circle is actually getting wider, a larger circle. I'm going to go and head over the solar plexus chakra, which is our intellectual chakra. Let's say an affirmation for that chakra. I understand what I learn. I understand what I learn. And again, that spin is getting stronger as I recite that chakra. While holding the pendulum over the chakras, you could also close your eyes and imagine a color. Visualize the color associated with that chakra, another way to strengthen, clear, balance that chakra. You could also listen to the note, the musical note that is associated with that chakra. The affirmations are located in Teachable under the other documents, and those are affirmations specifically written for children. So I mentioned the term working with the chakras, and so what working with the chakras means is we are either going through some type of guided imagery where we're imagining the colors with each chakra, so we are using color to work with that chakra to clear that chakra, to strengthen that chakra, or we might listen to certain musical notes with the certain chakras to strengthen that chakra, to clear that chakra, or visualizing letting go of energy from a certain chakra, like using the grounding cord meditation where we're really clearing that chakra. Using affirmations with the chakras. There is a list of affirmations for children working with their chakras, and so when we use these affirmations, we strengthen that particular chakra, whatever affirmation is associated with the chakra. What also a lot of people don't know is that each chakra is associated with a certain gland. So and that gland is associated with certain organs. So if we're having some type of physical ailment related to a certain organ, then we can work on that chakra that's associated with that gland, and that gland supports that particular organ. And I have a list of which glands support are connected, associated with which chakra under that documents page. In my book, I have 2 meditations, 2 guided imagery experiences that pertain to the chakras. It's hard for me to decide which one to share with you in this video. I don't think there's time to do both. So I'm going to go ahead and lead you through the Strong Chakra meditation, which is on page 102. This is in the Healing My Body chapter in the Chakra Balancing section, and that's chapter 9. So chapter 9, Healing My Body in the Chakra Balancing section. The Stronach Chakra meditation is what I'm going to lead you through. But before I do, I want to point out the other meditation that's in here, which is called the Cleaning Chakras meditation, which is also really powerful, and it builds from the grounding cord meditation. So the grounding cord meditation is a good starter, and then once the students get really good at that, then you can lead them through the Cleaning Chakras meditation, which is like a step up, a little bit more advanced in that type of work. But we'll go ahead and do the Strong Chakras meditation today. This meditation you could do sitting up or lying down. Either would be perfectly fine. So go ahead and find that comfortable position. Right, close your eyes. You can put your hands over your eyes if you want to. Take in a deep breath. And when you breathe back out, feel your body relaxing. We'll take 2 more breaths. Deep breath in. Feel your legs relax as you breathe out. Another deep breath in. And relax your arms and neck as you breathe out. Think about your first chakra. It is at the bottom of your tailbone, where your bottom sits on the floor. Remember a time when you felt very strong. And let this memory strengthen this chakra. Now move your attention to your second chakra, where your belly button is. Think about one of your favorite feelings. Experience that feeling, maybe happiness, excitement, or a feeling of peacefulness. And let this emotion strengthen this chakra. Now move your attention to your third chakra, between your belly button and your heart. You can touch it with your hand if you want. Think of something that you really understand, a concept that really makes sense to you, and allow this thinking to strengthen this chakra. Move your attention to your fourth chakra, your heart chakra, and think of someone you love very much. This person can even be yourself. And allow these feelings of love to strengthen this chakra. Now move your attention to your fifth chakra, your throat chakra. And remember a time when you told someone something that was really important to you. And allow this memory to strengthen this chakra. Move your attention to your sixth chakra, between your eyes, and think about how easy it is to shut your eyes and see pictures with your imagination. Or look at a person, a pet, or place in your mind. Move your attention to your seventh chakra at the top of your head. And imagine that everything around you loves you. The trees love you. The furniture loves you. All the people in the room love you. The floor loves you. And allow this universal love to strengthen this chakra. Take a moment to notice the strength that you feel in your chakras. Taking a deep breath, breathing in that strength. Remember the room where you are. Wiggle your fingers and your toes a little bit, taking a wakeful breath, and then open your eyes whenever you're ready. At the end of this meditation in the book, some of the meditation questions are, how do you feel? Do you feel different? Did you feel your chakras get stronger or bigger or open up? What were some of the thoughts you used during your meditation to open your chakras? What did you see or hear during your meditation? The time machine meditation is hands down the kids that I work with, their favorite guided imagery experience. It's an adventure. They go into a time machine and they go off to another place and they explore, and it's a lot of fun. So the purpose of this meditation, this guided imagery experience, the benefits are many, and one of them is that it's a great way for the children to practice using their inner senses. They're traveling, so they're noticing what they're hearing, they're seeing what's around them, they're tuning into even possibly smells around them, and the feelings that are coming up. So it's a really great practice for all of those inner senses. It's also a lot of fun for the students, so it associates this fun feeling with guided imagery. And sometimes it can be very healing. The higher self is leading the children to go to certain places, and sometimes the places are really important, things that they need to experience to facilitate a healing. So it can be that as well. I would like to address past lives, since this is a time machine, and sometimes the children will go back in time and possibly to a past life. There's a great book called Children's Past Lives by Carol Bowman, and she researches many children's stories and their past lives, and tells these stories. And she says that it's between the ages of 3 and 4 when the children will most likely spontaneously talk about these past lives. And my daughter did this, and it was right at that age, between 3 and 4, and she would speak about her husband Mac and their 5 kids, and that they lived in Virginia, and they had a house with a porch, and she would go into details about the wedding day with Mac, and that he had some kind of like choking incident, and so it was really fascinating. I would just listen and wow, okay, and very fluid, but then just kind of goes away. When they're around 4 years old, she just spontaneously stopped talking about it, just like she spontaneously started speaking about it. But during this time, she also told me that her brother was her old dad, and then he was born to you and Daddy, is what the quote is, what she said. So really interesting. And this is a topic that interests you. I highly recommend you read her book. In my book on page 133, I share a few other stories that I've heard over the years from students. So one of my adult students who had lost her brother, Thomas, 9 years earlier, shared with me that her 3-year-old son told her, "I know what happened to Uncle Thomas when he died. His spirit left his body and went into your body and came out as me." And that was especially remarkable because she had never talked about this idea of reincarnation with her child before. Another parent shared with me that his 5-year-old daughter told him, "I remember when I was big and you were little." So with the vocabulary that that child had, that was, possibly explain to her father that she remembered when she was the adult and he was the child, possibly her child, because reincarnation often born into the same families. Another student shared with me that her 4-year-old daughter told her, "There were so many mommies to choose from, but you had the nicest smile." So that's sweet. But whether you believe in reincarnation or not, there's some alternative theories. For example, seeing these past lives or supposed past lives might be a way that our subconscious mind is communicating something important to us. Another theory is that it's cellular memory, so that our ancestors' memories are in our cells and that we're possibly accessing those when we see these past lives. So something to consider. However, I will tell you that when working with kids with this particular time machine meditation, they often go into the future, not necessarily the past, but I wanted to go over that in case that happened with you when you're working with the students, and addressing any concerns that you might have. For example, what if a child sees something that's uncomfortable? How do you deal with that? And first of all, I'll say that children are very matter-of-fact with their experiences. They just kind of see it as it is, and a lot of times they don't get really worked up in it. That happens quite frequently. But also, if it is difficult, being there for them and guiding them through it, and leading them through to a place where they feel more comfortable is another option. But this time machine meditation, the way it's written, it is very rare that a child would have a negative experience. And the other thing is I don't, when I teach classes, I don't talk about reincarnation. I don't bring that up. I don't know if that's what the parents signed their kids up for. But I like to have that background and have you have that background, so if it does come up, you'd be prepared. All right, well, I'm going to go ahead and lead you through the time machine meditation. In addition to the kids loving it so much, my students really get a lot out of it too. So I'm sure that you will enjoy it. Go ahead and find that comfortable place. I'll go ahead and lead you through. The time machine meditation in the book is on page 134, and that's in the chapter called Inner Worlds, which is chapter 11. And that is in the section called Regression. All right. Let's go ahead and close your eyes. Take in a deep breath. When you breathe back out, feel your body relaxing. Take in another deep breath. As you breathe out, relax your legs. Another deep breath in. And as you breathe back out, relax your arms and neck. See a time machine with a door on it. Your time machine can look like anything you choose. Like a big box, or a car, or a building, for example. Now open the door to that time machine and step inside. Go ahead and make sure the door is closed when you are inside. Once inside, you might notice controls and lights. Notice what it feels like in your machine. Look around inside your time machine. You might even want to put a seatbelt on. There is a switch that turns the time machine on. So make sure the switch is turned to on. The time machine already knows where to take you. whether that is in the past or the future. Now find the button that tells the machine to take you to this already set perfect time for you to visit, and press that button. Feel the time machine switch into gear. It might make loud noises or even shake a bit. Relax and enjoy the ride. When your time machine has brought you to the perfect time, go ahead and unhook the seatbelt and open the door to this new time and place. First, notice the ground. What does it feel like under your feet? Look at your feet. What kind of shoes do you have on, if any? Take a look at your hands and arms. In your experience, touch your arms. Are you you, or are you in a different body? Take a look at what is around you. Are you in a place where there are buildings? Or are you in nature? Listen, what do you hear? You might feel drawn to a certain area, so go ahead and move to that area. Are there any people around? If you feel comfortable asking them where you are, go ahead and ask them. Where am I? If there are not any people, go ahead and ask an invisible guide who is there with you. What year is it? Where am I? You can also ask what you need to see in this place, and let yourself be guided to wherever you need to see. When you feel ready to leave this place, go back to the time machine and go inside. Turn the machine on, fasten your seatbelt, and set the control dial to the present time. Then push the button that will begin your journey home. Sit back and enjoy the ride. When you return, open the door and move out of the machine. Now thank yourself for all the things that you saw on your travels. And then remember the room where you are. You can wiggle your fingers and your toes. Taking a deep, wakeful breath. And open your eyes whenever you're ready. Some of the questions that are at the end of that experience are: what did you see? Did someone guide you and answer your questions? What were you wearing? What year did you go to? This next video that I'm going to show you is a reenactment, recreation of a class that one of my students taught, and she's facilitating the time machine meditation with her class, and I think you'll be really impressed with what the children got out of it. So enjoy.
Angela Marshall and her daughter and son spent the morning preparing for their guests to arrive. Twin sisters Adriana and Viviana and their younger sister and brother arrive first. Then 2 more children arrive. The youngest child in the group is 5 years old, and the oldest are the twins, who are age 14. Before the children meditate, Angela, the teacher, explains, "We don't have to sit up or lie down, just get into a position that is comfortable." The movement subsides and children are strewn across the room, lying on the floor and resting on couches and chairs. There are just a few more giggles before the room falls into a tranquil silence. Angela's voice is soft. Take a deep in-breath, and when you breathe back out, feel your body relaxing. We'll take 2 more breaths. Deep breath in and relax your legs as you breathe out. Deep into the meditation, the children take gentle breaths, so gentle one might mistake their peacefulness for sleep. One might also be surprised to learn that behind their closed eyes and inside their still bodies, these children are being swept up into a grand adventure, riding in their very own time machines. They are making touchdowns in lands many years away. These children are guided to see their childhood or even before their conception. They are seeing sunshine that hit the earth long ago, hearing voices rooted in their memories of the past, and feeling emotions of grief, happiness, courage, and strength. Angela guides the children through this journey. Although unlike typical journey meditations, here the children spontaneously experience scenes that the teacher does not specifically guide them to. A short 12 minutes later, Angela finishes and invites the children to open their eyes whenever they are ready. Children begin to stir, shifting their limbs, pushing themselves into more upright positions. The room is still and almost completely silent. Angela gazes at the awakening children and then asks them to share what they heard, felt, and saw during their meditation. Angela's son George begins. "It was before Christ. I was in a garden with bricks on the ground. I went to this fountain. I asked where I was, and I heard, 'Wherever you want to be.' I scooped up water from the fountain and put it in a bottle. I did this because it made me feel better. I don't know how to explain it." The class soaks in their classmates' experience before shifting their attention to Adriana. Her voice is soft and humble. She says she doesn't know where she went, but she knows it was nighttime, and she was a little girl. She sat beside a man she did not know, and she asked him, "Why am I here?" He answered, "Just to get away." Adriana adds, "It felt good." Adriana's sister Viviana speaks up next. "I found myself in my backyard. I saw my grandmother reach out to me." Viviana is filled with emotion. Her voice begins to crack. "I looked down and noticed I was in water. I was in our pool I used to swim in all the time. Just talking to my grandmother and being able to see her in front of me, moving and standing up straight by herself, made me feel so good." With this, Viviana's head falls into her hands. She holds back tears with her fingers. She takes a deep breath and opens up even more to herself and her classmates. "That was a special day, the one day I can never forget from my past. I never saw the sun shine so brightly." Viviana's grandmother tells her to be strong always. In her meditation, this message strikes a chord with her twin sister also, who shares her sister's emotion. The tone is tender as everyone in the room holds affection for the moment. Attention gradually shifts to Angela's daughter, Elfie. Elfie paints an enchanting picture of a forest leading to a waterfall. She walks barefooted to the waterfall where she meets deer and rabbits. An angel comes out from the waterfall with a message for Elfie. "The angel told me I should be really happy because I've done really well letting go of my great-grandpa, and I should keep going." Alfie hugs her knees and drops her head. She might be crying gently. Angela reaches over to her daughter to comfort her. The class is silent for several moments. Gabriella speaks next. She says she saw God and heard that she needs to remember she is an amazing writer, to walk with her light and to not feel alone. Michael passes. Maybe the emotions are high and he would rather the intensity move on to someone else. Maybe he is contemplating his own inner journey and will be ready to talk about it later. Or maybe it is his story and his alone to experience. Whatever it is, no one puts any pressure on him to speak. 5-year-old Leo has a story to tell as well, but he chooses to tell it through his art later. Before moving on to the next segment of the class, Angela explains to the children that if they ever need an answer to a question, they can ask their time machine to bring them wherever they need to go to get their message. She then asks the group if they would do this meditation again. The children nod yes and smile, the kind of smile a child radiates when her mother has shown them something revolutionary, but are tempted not to express how truly groundbreaking they believe it to be.